My name is Mark Amato Pinkham. I'm an author of a number of different books on the mysteries of this world and humanity. From a young age, I've always been a searcher and a researcher. I've traveled all over the world, starting with traveling to India when I was in my 20s and living in ashrams there. Later on, I had my own tour company. My wife and I, we led spiritual journeys around the planet. This desire to know the truth has only gotten stronger and stronger within me. Wherever I go, I'm always asking questions. And fortunately, I'm often in places where there are the masters that know the answers. Back in 1987, when I was in one of the vortexes here in Sedona, Arizona, called Boynton Canyon, I was kind of on a vision quest at the time. And so I hiked deep into the canyon and I started meditating and praying. A voice said in my head, "Look in front of you." And I looked in front and there was these two gigantic pillars that were just carved into the side of the canyon. Well, what was unique about these pillars is they looked like they were carved with human hands, and they looked nearly perfect. So then I started looking all over the base of the canyon, and wherever I looked, I saw temples that were created out of the native red rock that we have here in Sedona. They were carved, they had symbols on them, some were painted. I even saw statues that had been created out of the red rock. These ancient perfect temples had been worn away, and now I know that it was from floodwaters. Sedona has been covered with floodwaters at least 5 different times over its history. This place was an ancient city of the Star people, what the Hopis call the Kachinas. They built this place, so they built these temples. This was actual a temple city. I learned that the Hopis believed that the head of the Kachinas that had built Palakwapi was this being called Masao. Masao was the king of the world. Well, I'd been studying the king of the world, this idea of king of the world, because you can find it in traditions all over the world. You find this one being in all these different traditions, but with a different name and a different form. But in each case, he was one of their early priest kings, and he was the founder of the path to enlightenment. The Gnostic alchemical teachings came from him. You know, it was not too long after that experience in Boynton Canyon that I encountered these people called the Uzetis. They told me the legend of the peacock angel, how the peacock angel had come to Earth millions of years ago and spread its plumes all over the planet, and those plumes were etheric, and when they crystallized they became all the forms of nature. Well, another thing they said about this peacock angel is that they know him as the king of the world. And they told me another story that when the peacock angel was in the Garden of Eden with 72 tribes that were going to populate the planet, but he taught them all this path to God. And then he said, okay, now go to your appointed places for the duration of this cycle that we're just beginning now. And so they did. But over thousands of years, the form of the peacock angel changed and its name changed. But its characteristics and its legend stayed the same in all these different cultures, and that includes the Hopis. So when I saw this court of the king, I knew from the Hopis that it was the court of Masao. I also started seeing it being covered with peacock feathers, so I knew it was also the court of the peacock angel. And I also found out that the legend of Masao was almost identical to the peacock angel. And then I realized that this is the universal throne. It's this throne of this universal king that's found in all these different traditions, and this king unites us all together. Then I kept receiving these messages intuitively that it was my job to reintroduce this king of the world to the world, because we'd known about him before, and it was time to know about him together, because what's going to happen is we're going to start all opening up to his dimension. Well, at least those of us that are ready. And we're going to wonder, well, what is this? Just like I did. This is where we're at. The return of the king, the return of this master that, according to tradition, came from Pleiades, millions of years ago to bring the teachings to us. He was the original savior. He's never left. He's always been in an etheric dimension, but now's the time for us to take notice. And all my books pretty much are dedicated to this being in all its different forms, this being who has been or has been known as the Peacock Angel, has been known as the Hindu Sanat Kumara, who has been known as the Egyptian Osiris, the Sumerian Enki, the Mexican Quetzalcoatl, the Andean Viracocha, Al-Qadir of the Sufis. You see, he's been known all over the world in all these various traditions. The Peacock Angel is androgynous. The Peacock Angel is pure energy. It's not a he or a she, but you can call it either one. One of the forms of the Peacock Angel is the rainbow serpent, which many of its devotees refer to as her. There's no differentiation. In fact, the ancients knew this, and they knew that the goddess and her son, or Mother Earth and her son, which is the most ancient of all the religions on this planet, they knew that the sun and the goddess were one and the same because they were both pure energy. They were totally androgynous. If you study about the goddess herself, you'll find that she is often represented as a serpent or as an androgynous, even an androgynous woman. Aphrodite with a beard, or Ishtar as the goddess of love and aura. But there's always this association to her dual aspect. She's the goddess of creation and destruction. And you can also find the same with her son, Sanat Kumara, who divides into twins, two males that look identical to him. In ancient Sumeria, they said, well, the goddess Ishtar, her son, the Muzi, they're both the serpent that emanated from the heaven god Anu at the beginning of time. They are both that serpent. So their energy, it's not a he or a she, it's a he, she. I have also written a book called Initiate's Guide to the Path of the Dragon, which goes into detail of how you can connect with these different forms of the King of the World, and it actually even gives certain invocations that you can speak in order to attract that deity. And there's also actually, there's ways you can sit and stand, different mudras they call them, different bodily postures that will also help in order to invoke that deity, and also not only invoke it, but actually move the energy of that deity through your body. Once you actually can connect with the deity, it might give you a different name. But also they're sacred geometrical images, which in India they call the yantras. Sanat Kumara, he's invoked by the yantra of the six-pointed star. Osiris is invoked by the yantra of the flower of life. Then you have Enki, who's invoked by his own special ancient symbol. And then at any time, you'll be able to connect with that deity. So good luck.